welcome to another edition of What's So Funny, the show that probes the brains, the minds, the psyches, and the brains of the people who make the funny. Well, many have been declaring radio a dead medium. The recent Royal Baby and Christy Clark MILF scandals indicate otherwise. So, to prevent another such debacle, beginning with tonight's guest, Paul Hooper, What's So Funny pledges to never broadcast anything inappropriate, offensive, or harmful. And now a man poised to polish up this previously putrid program, your host and MC, Mr. Guy McPherson.
Not the episode for that when we have Paul Hooper here. We can't promise we can't clean it up tonight. We got Hooper.
You told me he was a clean, very nice young man.
I don't think I can help with that.
He works in the Christian comedy circuit.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Paul, welcome. This is your first time in studio. Is it everything you dreamed of?
Yeah, thank you. This is nice.
Before,
I like all this. I like the setup.
Yeah, we recorded in your tiny hotel room.
That's right, in downtown Vancouver.
And now you're here where it all happens.
And that was really early last time, right? Was it like a morning thing in the hotel?
Yeah, it was.
I remember that. Yeah, I went and ran and got coffee, and then we did that. So I was probably a little frazzled.
This is your time of night, right?
Yeah.
You slept all day.
Right.
Oh, by the way, I mentioned that Kevin will probably slag you in the intro, and
What?
he didn't.
That was very nice.
I love him.
Oh, okay.
I love him.
You love me.
I never slag any of the guests. What are you talking? You got to watch. You got to watch Guy. He'll be all friendly, and then he'll stab you in the back.
Yeah, if you'd said something negative, I've been all right with it.
You thrive on the negative.
Yeah, I sort of like that.
So I had laugh lines the last couple nights, and it was great. And now tomorrow you're off to my hometown, Victoria. First time
on the island.
Yeah, and so you're going to be taking a big boat. They told you this, right?
Yeah, I'm taking the ferry over tomorrow at like 1.
So what do you picture when they say the ferry?
Well, I've taken ferries in Seattle to those little islands around there, and that's, I imagine it's the same thing. Maybe a bigger version of that.
Yeah, bigger version, better, cleaner.
I do believe it would be cleaner on this side. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that, and I heard the views are amazing, so I'm into that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You're a guy, we talked about this last time you were here, and you talk about it on stage, filled with anxieties and neuroses, however you want to define them.
Right.
Both, would you say, or one, or are they the same?
Both.
Yeah. Do you have the travel one? Like, if you're on a ferry, you wouldn't be anxious about that, would you?
No, I don't worry about that too much. Like planes, ferries, stuff like that. I really don't worry about that.
SkyTrains?
SkyTrain doesn't bother me at all. And I live in New York, so the subway doesn't faze me at all. None of that stuff gets to me. I just have those other like weird quirks and but anything big like that, no, transportation, I don't have a problem with it. I can relax on that. If it's a beautiful view, I can enjoy that. If it's, a plane, I can fall asleep immediately. I don't know.
Have you ever worked cruises?
No, never. I don't really want to.
No.
People invited me. They used to tell me, like, oh, you can just go do the dirty show on the cruise, but it really doesn't sound appealing to me at all.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't want to, I want to see the world and all that, but being on a boat doing that, I've heard the horror stories from comedians that it's big checks, but it just seems corny to me. And I don't know what they mean if they buy dirty, and this was back when the economy was good. Now I don't think they would just fly you in to do one show and then have a clean guy do the other shows because of the economy. But this was, 8 years ago or something like that. And so I was sort of like, and I didn't think their version of dirty would match mine. I had a hard time believing that they'd let you just go and do whatever you want.
There's a difference between dirty and dark.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because, I have plenty of dirty stuff, but it is more dark stuff and cynical stuff that I enjoy doing more than just filth.
Right. If anyone's tuning in and they're not familiar with Paul Hooper, I was kidding when I said he's on the Christian comedy circuit. Just so that's clear now.
Yeah.
Right? We got it. We know who you are.
Just in clubs, yeah. That's it.
Just in clubs, that's where you perform, yeah.
Yes, just in clubs. I have no desire to do the cruise ship thing. Although, if it was like, I don't know, one of the theme cruises, if there was a cruise.
Like a Disney thing.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I don't, if it was some comics put it together.
Oh, a comic run cruise. That would go down. That would sink.
Yeah. That could be awful. But, cruise ships I'll just steer clear of. I don't really care.
So, but you have no anxieties over travel. That's good.
No.
That's. I guess your head is filled with other things.
Yeah, I mean, the logistics of it all gives me anxiety. You know, when the planning of stuff, that gives me the anxiety. But the actual doing it, I'm not scared of a crash or this or that.
So what do you mean the logistics of planning? A trip, a tour? Or
yeah,
what?
or even today, like taking the SkyTrain down to switch to a bus, like earlier tonight. I'm just like, I need to know exactly, like, this is the right train. So I research all of that, and I like to know, all right, exactly, and what side of the street the bus is on. It sort of gives me anxiety. Like when I get off, how far is the bus to that? And I like to know and map that out.
Is it a vague kind of anxiety, or how does it manifest itself?
Yeah, it's sort of a vague anxiety that, I mean, I don't just completely lose it.
Right.
But I start to get it like tomorrow for the travel tomorrow because I got to get, someone's going to pick me up and then take me to the ferry. Then someone's going to pick me up there. That so many things have to come together that I'm like, all right, I'll start getting anxiety about what time I'm getting up to do all these things. And as each thing disappears, my anxiety starts to go away. It's almost like a check mark.
Right.
Like first leg is done, second leg is done, third leg is done. Like some people would just go downstairs at 11 a.m. and they'll take you to the ferry.
But now you might get off the ferry and no one will be there to pick you up.
They could be stranded there.
I don't want to put that in your head, Paul.
I'd hate to be, because it is frigid out, and I don't want to be standing out there on the
Well,
sidewalk
you could wait
with my
inside
luggage.
at the ferry terminal.
Oh, they'll have something nice there. But
yeah. But you would never know when they were going to come.
No, I would never know.
You could be stuck there.
And I can't use my cell phone.
Right.
So I'm truly stranded. I mean, I could text people, but I can't call anyone.
It's in the middle of nowhere. That doesn't work out there. They don't have that.
I can't even text?
No, nothing.
Nothing out there.
Nothing.
You just have to sort of
no
wait
electricity
for a human.
either out there either. So
It's on an island.
My God.
yeah.
So
I don't believe this, but I know this.
You just carry that with
Scary.
you tonight.
See,
I like to put these thoughts in your heads. Like last night before your show, I was talking to you about something, and it seemed to have rattled you.
I get anxiety, yeah, with shows and stuff, not about being on stage and stuff, but just certain things. If we get into the sort of behind the scenes of comedy or this joke or that joke, then I'll start to obsess. I really started to obsess on jokes a lot more than I used to.
About what kind, or whether they're working, or where to place them? What are you obsessing about?
My biggest thing is that I always do, and my friends had to sort of talk me down, is I always like to make sure like something's truly original, and I have to run it past so many people before I feel comfortable. And each tag, and the first thing I obsess about is this an original thought? Am I going in an original direction? And each tag that goes on the joke, I'm still checking it with people that I trust their judgment on. And so it sort of drives me batty. And I've had friends that are like, you're just going to have to let that go and trust your instinct. You know that, you know.
Yeah, everything that you talk about is really about you and your thoughts. So
yes,
it's
absolutely.
going to be at least honest.
Right.
Even if someone else has had the same experience.
Right.
You're not stealing from anybody else or borrowing or, subconsciously using.
Yeah, but I'm so off the charts paranoid that I have to run it past so many people. And I'm getting a little bit better about it. It comes in phases where I'm like, I just like to run it past one more person. Because I had a conversation with a friend a few years ago where I was like, if I write a joke at 6 o'clock at night, my show's at 8, I can't get a hold of my friends that I trust to bounce it off. I won't do it that night. And he's like, you're an idiot. You can't live like that. You have to trust, your intentions and that you go up there and do it. And so I'm like, all right. I'm sort of like, okay, I trust it. And then I'm like, yeah. And now the stuff being more honest, and then I've lived it and keeping everything honest, and it's making it easier because of stuff that I've lived.
I think last night I mentioned something about you using the word hockey.
Yeah.
And teasing you about it because you're in Canada using hockey, and then you were
instead
like,
of baseball.
Oh, what? And then in the second set, you switched it to baseball. How do you think that went over?
Did the line went all right? I don't really remember how the line did. I think it worked normally, and I just changed the sports on it, like I was telling you. But I was sort of like,
I said you were pandering or whatever.
You busted my balls, then I fucking had an insecure meltdown. I'm like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? No, that's not what that means. It's sort of. It's actually probably pissing some people off by the fact that I put hockey. Yeah,
that's right.
And I'm like, so I couldn't get it. It was right between the shows. That's a vulnerable time because I'm coming off one show going into another. So I'm like, I don't know if he's joking, but you kept a straight face. But I couldn't leave it on. Every 10 minutes I had to walk up and go, but listen, man, No,
Hear
but
me
if I
out.
change it to this and that, and even today, I woke up today saying something about hockey. I'm like, I don't think. No, wait a minute now. I had a couple of those conversations with myself.
Just
like
with
changing
yourself.
the joke. I'm like playing the joke back in my head or the reference back. Then I joke with you about changing it to highlight. So
That's
that
right,
no
I
one
like
could
that
relate
one.
to it, and I could
like
really just, the joke could
I
just
get
eat
it.
shit.
I love highlight.
Yeah, no one in the audience can relate to it.
By the way, we got to ask Kevin here. We were listening to Kenny Loggins off the top because he's a big favorite of yours, Paul.
Yes.
Right? You mentioned him in the show. You like to dance to him in your hotel room.
Not really dance, bathe to him.
Paid to him. Ooh.
Although we're playing This Is It, and you didn't even recognize Kenny Loggins, so it made me think maybe you're not so honest on stage. After.
This ad's getting evil.
He's a
hasn't it?
poser. He's a
Fucking-
Kenny Loggins poser.
This has all gotten real fucking nasty. No, I'm honest. I listened to the soundtrack days. They were talking
Yeah, you're a
about
little
this.
younger, so you were into the soundtracks, and I think
That
this
was
predated
1957 or some
It was
shit.
not.
Kenny Loggins' first hit. I listened to the 80s. All the Top Guns, over the top, footloose shit. Well, I don't remember him when he was with Crofts and Seagulls.
Yeah,
or
who was
whatever.
that, Kevin? Was
Who the
it,
fuck?
he sounds like
The
Seals and
Birds?
Croft or Christopher Cross or Mike McDonald.
Loggins and Messina.
Oh,
really?
let's see,
That's-
who is that?
Who's Messina?
Well, Jim Messina. He was he was partner. They
okay.
They were a duo.
What
like
happened to him?
Seals and Crofts.
I told you Kevin would know. He's the
They
music
were a
guy.
hipper version of Seals and Crofts.
And that was before then Loggins took off and did his soundtrack
Yeah.
thing and dropped Messina. And, I mean, that's his
Yeah.
big money right there.
Yeah.
The 80s. He killed it. I know.
Whatever
from that.
happened to Messina?
I don't know.
I think he's still kicking around, plugging around on the folk circuit.
Well, he collaborated. I don't know. But yeah, Loggins. That's what I remember, the heyday, the big
Right.
things. 'Cause
And
That was a huge hit. This is it. I think you better check your collection, your
Yeah.
iPod. You should have
I
that
tell
one
you
on
this,
there.
though. I don't like that song.
It sounds a little
I hated
too.
that song.
It sounds a little too Doobie Brothers, Mike McDonald. It's a little more Doobie Brothers.
Yeah, it did.
And my stepdad used to play those 8 tracks when we would. There's something about that backup voice makes things. Christopher Cross or Michael McDonald, and they anger me. That backup voice angers me because it reminds me of my stepfather taking me to the Sizzler in his Firebird.
And what was wrong with that?
There's just, I mean, it wasn't a bad memory. Nothing traumatic happened there. But it's just one of those things where he controlled the music, and I just didn't like it.
Oh, okay.
That sound in my head. And he did. It's another
Power
reason.
trip.
And he ruined Journey for me too. He would just blast it in his Firebird on the way for us to go eat shitty meat at a Sizzler.
Well, the other guy that you reference is British Bulldog, or what's his name? Pitbull.
No, that was a spur
Pitbull?
of the moment thing that
British
I trashed
Bulldog.
him last. The British Bulldog. Is that a
I don't
wrestler?
know.
He was a wrestler. Yeah, what's going on? Hey.
Pitbull is some shitty dance club rap
Yeah.
You know
thing.
this-
Oh yeah,
He's enormous.
awful, yeah.
Well, there was a dude in the front row, like the table, that was drunk up front. And then I looked at another dude who started talking, and he was this beefy guy with his tight shirt on. And he just looked like some guy that'd be at some South Beach dance club, in Miami, listening to fucking Pitbull.
Yeah.
Very douchebag. And so my hatred of Pitbull sort of boiled over, and I just went on a little bit of a rant. But that's never, I don't think I've ever, maybe that's the second time I've talked shit about Pitbull on stage. But I do hate him. It comes from a real
that's
place. It comes from an honest place.
That's
but it's
what we
not
like.
material, really.
We're talking with Paul Hooper. The show's What's So Funny, CFRO 100.5 FM. I'm Guy McPherson. Kevin Smith is in the other room. Paul, you say, I scribbled some notes in the dark last night during your set, just thinking,
God.
well, no, it's all good.
Okay.
It's all good. You said you don't like it when people say you don't have to be dirty to be funny.
That's just going back to my open mic days. I've been doing comedy 15 years, so I got it pretty early on. I was dirty from the get-go. It's just what I enjoyed doing, and so I've heard that shit forever, and gotten those speeches and gotten in trouble, or those lectures from the beginning.
From managers and...
Yeah, early on, I couldn't figure it out because I knew all the comics that I liked as a kid. And when I started open micing or doing these amateur nights in North Carolina, not a few months in, I got suspended, banned, whatever you call it, from open mic because the owner at that time, this is the old owner, had a lawyer friend in the audience. And I guess I said something vulgar, and the lawyer friend told the owner, and then I was suspended for 3 months from open mics. And the manager, who was my friend, talked him down to a month or two. But early on, I was really confused by what the fuck? I don't understand.
That was your problem right there.
Yeah, gratuitous F-bombs and saying... But, it baffled me. And still to this day, it's one thing I still don't understand why people have a problem with language in comedy clubs. And I've tried to think about it from every angle, and I'm still amazed by it. But so early on, I got a taste, and it made me want to quit early on in the open mic. I'm going to get pulled aside.
Well, who were your role models? Who were you listening to?
I mean, like early on, so I'm like 37 now. So, of course, Eddie Murphy was a huge influence as a kid. Like, I got to watch that early on. And then as I grew up and got through my teens, I think I watched a little more Carlin and stuff. But I watched all those, like, cable channel stuff, whether it be Showtime or whatever the dirty stuff was on when stand-up was in its heyday. Yeah. So any of that stuff. And I just enjoy the dirty stuff,
So you can't understand why somebody would go to a comedy club and not want to hear it. Because
I don't know why they draw a line or why they would go with, I can't listen to this, or that it ruins their evening somehow.
Right.
When they come in to sit at a comedy show, why there's rules or restrictions.
That's right. When they're going to movies and they're dropping all over the place, the F-bombs.
Right. Yeah.
It's all around them in life.
Yeah.
But they don't want to hear it in a comedy club. Yeah, that is a strange concept.
It is. And, it seems like with comedy, it's going to be, that's what comedy does. You just talk about the hypocrisy in the world. You say whatever. You talk about the things that, all the taboo things and things that, a lot of times you shouldn't say, or that people think in the really private moments. And so you have to touch on it somehow. I think real comedy does. And I don't know, by putting rules on it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand. Not that it just needs to be over the top, an hour, just filthy jokes.
What is real comedy, though?
I don't know, just honest and just...
What about just entertaining the people there?
I know what you mean, but I no, I don't understand how that works. It's just entertaining, just making the people happy.
There's a problem right there. There's it.
I don't know how to do it.
Entertain what?
There's sometimes, and people have told me to smile more and shit like that. I've gotten that before. There's a lot that I'm confused by 15 years in. The language thing, yeah.
I had noticed you smile quite a bit on stage.
I do when I'm having fun, but I had this discussion with my roommate, who's a comic, last week or something. I had a set, and I think sometimes, maybe because my eyes are baggy, my voice is deep, and my stuff is sort of dark, people really think I'm a bad person or a dick or something like that if I don't smile. And I have a tendency that I did catch it myself, like I've seen videotapes of myself, where if the audience is not great, I don't smile as much. And if they start off bad and they get good, you'll start to see me smile more. And so I don't smile. It really is an honest thing that if a crowd's being shitty, then I don't smile.
It's on them.
It's on them in a way, and I don't know if that's fair. But I just can't smile. I'm not going to fake a smile when I think the crowd's shitty or they're not laughing at my stuff. I light up when the crowd's great. I'm having a ball. I'll smile ear to ear, but I can't do it just as a trick to go, all right, if I smile here, then that'll, bring them in so that I can take them here. I just can't fake that smile. But when I'm really enjoying myself, like this weekend, I enjoyed myself, so I'll laugh. And I'll catch what I'm saying is absurd, and I think that's funny, or I like them, or I feel comfortable. But I don't know how to do it just every single time where I'm just going to go out there and smile and have a great time. When I'm like, no, someone's determined by them. If they're being shitty to me, no. I'm not happy. I'm not happy to be in front of them, and I'm not going to smile.
So 15 years in, you're still picking up tricks and figuring things out?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I know the tricks.
Good.
I'm refusing to do the things
okay.
that would help
he's not
me.
really, I was going to say, he's not really picking them up. He's throwing them away. He's kicking them to the curb.
Yeah, I'm not making it any easier on myself 15 years in.
Yeah. But would a comedian, still say that to you? Like, Paul, you should, just smile.
Well, he wasn't saying that. But, I mean, comics do have a point when they see me. They're like, you need to loosen up. I have caught myself on tape where I'm like, that was a good set, but I think it'd been that much better if I just been a little more loose and enjoyed myself more. Where sometimes you feel like you're just going out there to just hit it as hard as you can. And that's the wrong way, too, where it should be a little more loose, where I am, all right, I can be loose. And I've caught myself on tape. I'm like, me watching that as an audience member, I'm like, I wish I'd loosened up and just had more fun on stage and enjoyed it more in the moment.
If you can enjoy it, then they'll enjoy it.
And I've gotten better about it because I'm more comfortable than ever. So I do probably smile more than I ever have. But there are the sets, where I feel jammed or I feel I'm not as comfortable and maybe they're being weird and I don't light up. And I probably look like a real dick.
Tomorrow morning I told you I'm interviewing Stephen Wright on the phone. Now, he's a guy with a low voice.
Yeah.
looks tired, doesn't smile. Occasionally he'll smile.
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of thing, though. But maybe it's because his material isn't so dark. Is that what you think? Like, audiences will still be carried away in mirth and glee listening to him.
Yeah.
Even though he's dour.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing to understand. Like, I only understand that when I watch comics, like, what makes them likable, because I realize I've struggled with likability the whole time. My whole
not
career.
Yeah.
But I am a good person. I think when people click into it, they understand. But I've always sort of struggled with it. I'm not the guy that's likable all the time, even though...
You have to somehow let them know that you're a good person without hitting them over the head with it.
Yeah, and I refuse... Here's another trick I refuse to do. I don't want to front load. I have self-deprecating stuff in there, but I want to do it when I want to do it in my set, and I don't want to front load it. And it would probably... I'd have better sets if I just came out and went, oh, here's the things that are wrong with me. Then I go into whatever else, finger pointing at the rest of the world. But I refuse to do that. I'd rather just...
Why?
I just don't like it there. That's not the stuff I want to open on, which is, I guess, me being stubborn to a fault. But I don't like that you have to do that. So I've seen crowds do that, too, and it makes me crazy where I do a 10-minute set and say the last half is the self-deprecating stuff, where I say take 5 minutes, they're cold to me. As soon as I get in that stuff, they just light up. And then I'm in an impossible position in my head because I'm pissed at them. Like I was a real person. 5 minutes ago, I was just talking about other things. I didn't have to say I'm short, baggy-eyed, insecure. I don't understand why they need that. I still to this day, from the audience's point of view, why they need that. If the guy on stage is a dick, so be it, if they're funny punchlines. Why do you need to know that something's wrong with him? Before you...
I can't answer this.
That's what I struggle with.
It humanizes him. And they feel like a connection that, okay, he's not just hating us. He's got his own issues and, you know. Don't you appreciate that you have the power to do that, though? Don't you go like, wow, they hated me like 2 seconds ago. Now they love me.
I would still like...
They thought I was maybe the worst asshole in the world now.
I don't know why they can't. I guess I can't get around on why they go, the guy come on stage is going to say funny things. This is where we're at. And they give you the credit line to go, all right, he's finger pointing, whether it be at society or his friend or did something wrong. Why they can't just go, all right, give him that. He doesn't have to open up and say his father left when he was 3 before we warm up to him. Because I think I could put myself in a position of an audience member, and if someone's just a complete dick, ranting and raving, I go, okay, I don't need to hear his life story. If these things are funny, he can blast the entire world. I still like him.
Yeah, but, you know, I've gone to comedy with people who don't see a lot of comedy and not name comics. And I remember going with this friend of mine, and she said, oh, yeah, the guy was funny, but I just don't trust him.
You don't
and I said, what difference does it make what he's like off stage?
Right?
Because he didn't have this nice, warm, touchy-feely kind of persona. And I go, well, did you think he was funny? Yeah, we got in a big argument about it. But yes, but I think a lot of people need that. They want to like the person somehow, regardless of whether they think they're funny. Because then they'll, even if they think they're funny, it'll be tempered a bit.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, he was funny, but there's always a but.
Yeah. They don't trust him. Yeah, it is fascinating. I don't think I need that. I don't think I need it before I started stand-up comedy. I think there were comedians that I respected, and I don't necessarily want to...
I'm the same way, but I think for, most...
The vast majority of people, yeah. I guess it's something I'll never understand, but... Because I can't look at it that way. I mean, I have had over the last couple months, like, people say things in the crowd. There was one time, was it 2 months ago, some dude... Well, I'd pissed his wife off in the crowd, and she had to leave. And then... He got mad at me. He was already mad about the wife thing, but then he's like, all you do is talk about yourself. That's what he said to me on stage, which was sort of...
Yeah, and?
I'm like, yeah, that's all I can really talk about. But I do go to the extreme with my self-absorbed shit, right? Like, I'm a little more...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is you off stage, too.
Oh, yeah, completely self-absorbed. So it's an honest thing.
So his wife left, and he stayed.
He stayed.
There's the guy with the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He stayed and had his legs crossed. So he is in his kickback, almost relaxed position. And then he's like, all you do is talk about yourself.
What did he want?
I don't know. I asked him, and he couldn't explain it.
Yeah.
So the crowd was on my side, but I've heard that. And then I had another guy like a month ago tell me from the audience, he's like, "You're very sensitive." I'm like, "Yeah," and we try to get into which I thought, I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. I am very sensitive.
Yeah,
I am. You got that right."
Huh.
And so I've had these weird.
Do you ever say I'm just a reflection of you? I'm not talking about me. I'm actually talking about you.
I'm talking about all of us.
All of us as human beings.
I should have played it that way.
We were talking with Paul Hooper, who is from North Carolina, now living in New York City, or one of the boroughs. And Paul, last time I saw you in town, you were at Talent Time. You came on doing your self-absorbed routine right after like a choir of angels or something.
Yeah, there was something out there.
There were
little
kids.
Yeah.
I forget what the act was, but it was great juxtaposition of them.
It was very wholesome.
And then you, yeah.
Yeah, and it worked.
Were you nervous going into that?
You know, I was going into it. I'm like, I don't know how my stuff's going to work here because I was sharing the green room with the mime. And
oh, there was a mime. That's right.
There were a lot of things freaking me out.
Yes.
On the show, the children run in. I mean, they were like a big choir of like 30 kids, too.
Yeah. Oh, was that the ukulele choir?
There were 2 different choirs, I think.
Okay, yeah.
It was an amazing show.
It was.
So I didn't know. But I looked at the crowd, and it was packed in there. And then I'm like, no, I think these people go for I think they'll go for anything right now. And so I sort of, when I went on stage, I felt comfortable immediately. And they did. They just went with it for doing 15 minutes.
It.
Yeah, I love that show.
Oh, good.
That was great. It was a nice surprise. I was worried in the beginning, but I'm glad they put me later in the show so I could feel it out. Had I gone second or third, I'd been really worried, but I sat there for an hour. No, I like the audience here.
Yeah, I wonder about a visiting comic who's not familiar with that show, that monthly show, walking in and just going, what the hell is this? What am I doing here?
Yeah, it was a lot to take in.
Yeah,
because
that crowd will go for anything, though. They'll go, doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah,
they're receptive. So
really amazing. And then they took the kids out. You know, like as soon as they're done, they're out, and then they're putting people in. I mean, the mime in the green room was the biggest hurdle for me, I think.
Did he talk?
Yeah, did you
guys talk? It was a
talk?
girl, and she was practicing her thing, and I was on the other side just pacing and just fiddling with my phone and.
So you were miming in a way too.
Yeah, over there, and I couldn't.
You two are probably really just about the same. You and that mime really doing the same thing, trying to touch people's hearts.
Now you bring it up, yeah, sort of. I still couldn't accept it. And it weirded me out because I could see it out of the corner of my eye, and I don't know what I was practicing. But I know I was cursing. I was like sort of... grumbling to myself.
Or in that room?
In that room.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you look at this shit. Like that kind of stuff. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like that kind of mumbling, and which probably put me in the right frame of mind to go on stage and do comedy.
Right. Yeah.
The grumbling. So the mime helped me prepare.
Gives you a bit of an edge.
For my set, yeah.
You should always have a mime open for you.
Yeah. Not really open. Just stand in the green room and anger me, and then I'll be in the right place.
Pump you up, man.
Another thing you said in your act is that you have no sense, you don't understand hometown pride. You're from Charlotte, North Carolina. You couldn't care less. I don't know how much of that is an exaggeration.
I couldn't give a shit.
Really?
Yeah. I don't understand. Like Charlotte, too, I guess what sometimes I don't convey on stage is that I don't hate my hometown. It's not a thing if I was raised in
you just indifferent.
I'm indifferent. I don't love it. I don't hate it.
You don't love it because that's where you're from.
Yeah, and I think Charlotte had a hand in it in the sense that it's a town that's like a very new, growing big city. It's a big banking center. And what they did was rip everything historic down with all this banking money, and now every building's new. So it doesn't have a lot of, I don't know. They ripped all the history down, so it's something I can't really get behind, Maybe I would be proud. I mean, I don't think so, though, if I was raised in, a city with more culture, but... no, that town, I just never understood it. It was just a place, I didn't hate it and love it. It was just a place I was raised. My family and friends are there, and I love them, so I go back.
Did you spend how many years there?
35 years.
Oh, so, yeah, right. You just moved to New York a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and I lived outside of Charlotte a few years ago, like an hour away. But, yeah, pretty much, 35 years of my life. And I just did the road out of there. So I started comedy 15 years ago, and I did the road out of Charlotte, which is a good location. And the clubs are all cool to me. So I'm grateful for my family and friends that are there. The comedy club chain that got me started, the Comedy Zones, and those guys that got behind me. And the audiences are cool, but the city, I could give a shit.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know how people care. I don't know how people care, what city, if you're from Sacramento or...
Well, it's always hinged around a sports team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I can't deal with. I don't know.
Because you're not a sports guy.
No, I grew up as a kid. Yeah, I went along with it.
I grew up as a kid, too.
Not me. I was born an adult. Yeah.
Carry on.
Skipped it.
I have spinal tumors.
Yeah, I know.
Something's going on in my neck here. Yeah. But anyway,
I should have hired masseuses to come in.
That'd be wonderful.
Well,
can you do that now?
Too late now. But if anyone out there listening,
probably somebody on the street that would do it.
That's fine. Bring them in from Hastings. Get them in here. Rub my
some
neck out.
acupuncture needles or some kind of needles.
Whatever. I'll take anything at this point. It's just a throbbing pain in my neck.
Oh, it's throbbing, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're saying these hateful things to me, and I don't know what to do. No, but what was I saying?
You grew up as a kid.
Oh God, I phrased that the wrong way. But I grew up. I don't know where I was going with that.
Sports. We're talking about sports.
I went along with whatever team. I think I liked the NC State Wolfpack at one point. Then I switched to Duke.
Oh yeah, the guy, the coach,
the
Wolfpack.
Who is he?
Valvano.
Oh, with the cancer stuff.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking before that when he was still alive.
Yeah, but his foundation's a big thing.
Oh yeah.
That's right, yeah. Because they show old highlights now, and they raise money for cancer.
Right, him running around the court.
Him running around the court in the suit, all fired up.
Yeah.
But I never really understood it. And then I got my 20s. And then the longer I've done comedy, the less I can't deal with, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me, sports. So I moved to New York City. I don't give a shit. I'll go to a Yankees game. I went to a Yankees game, had a great time.
Because you don't have to like sports to watch baseball. You sit there and, well, you don't drink beer
I enjoy eating hot dogs in the fresh air. You know? That's fun. And I like watching sport. I understand how the game is fun, but I don't understand anything about why people are so riled up. I don't know why you give a shit. I don't understand.
Yeah, each one is entertainment unto itself.
Right.
You don't need to follow the record or anything.
Yeah, and I don't know if I've ever been able to truly enjoy any kind of fucking entertainment. Now that I think about it.
Any entertainment.
Any entertainment.
Outside of Kenny Loggins.
Outside of Kenny Loggins. But you know what I thought about that? Is like when I go see bands or athletes, that's all I think about. Well, I remember my cousins love Rush, and they took me to a Rush concert. And on the way to the concert, and I was a teenager, like young. And I remember on the way in, all I was fascinated by was wonder what Rush is doing in the green room right now. I didn't really enjoy the concert. I just imagined their lives. The members of Rush. I'm more fascinated by that than their actual music or what they're doing in the moment. I was always intrigued by that. And that goes the same way for athletes. If I see A-Rod or Derek Jeter at the plate, I'm more fascinated by their life than them hitting a grand slam.
Home,
yeah.
What they're doing?
Yeah. In their apartment and how nice their life is and stuff like that and how great. I saw Coldplay a few years ago. I thought the same thing. I'm like, I bet they came on a private jet and you guess the money they make for the gig. And I'm like, that's nice.
Yeah,
he probably
you
lives
look
in
around.
London.
Yeah.
And they're going...
And he's married to
Gwyneth
Paltrow. And I'm like, they're playing in Australia next month?
That's just called jealousy.
Life.
That's normal human jealousy. It's just...
Is it? Is that all it is?
Envy.
But I can't enjoy their music.
That is a sin, young man. Because their music sucks. But, I mean, that's why you can't enjoy that.
But I've always thought that way, even as a kid. I guess it is jealous of like watching these people. I'm like sort of mesmerized by that part of it.
What about seeing movies?
I can get lost in a movie.
Can you?
Without thinking about the actor's salary or whatever. Yeah.
I always picture them, in some, especially if it's a big emotive scene. I just picture the director going, cut, good job, and then snapping right out of it and cracking a joke. So I can't get that lost in a movie.
No, you can't. You just think of the technical side of it.
It's acting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't get lost in it. I find it relaxing now with a movie. But if it's in front of my face, like I'm at a live event, then I always go, wow, wonder what's going on behind the scenes and stuff like that. I always wonder. I saw the Yankees playing like A-Rod. Rodriguez? What's his first name? I don't even know. Alex Rodriguez? I watched, and all I did was I did marvel at how much of a specimen he was. Like, we were on the first baseline, we were close, and I'm like, this guy is really, like, his legs, the way he took this guy's an athlete. I mean, like, I just looked at him and marveled at his size and how athletic he was.
You marveled at his body.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, I did. I really did. Not in that sort of way that you're trying to push me into, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I did.
Right.
And I sort of said that, and I don't know what he did. I don't know if he struck out. I don't know if he hit the ball or what. I could give a shit. I look at the wrong things, I think.
Yeah, and it always been like that.
Always. The Rush concert was one of my teens, and I kept asking my cousins. I'm like, what do you think Rush is doing in their green room right now? And they're like, wait, I don't know. Probably practicing. What are you doing? And they're waiting for Neil Peart's drum solo. And I didn't give a shit. I just thinking about how nice the tour bus is.
Now, you've rubbed shoulders with some famous people over the years.
Yeah, comics, I suppose, yeah.
And, comics and Michael Moore.
Michael Moore, yeah.
What's he doing outside when he's not being a rabble-rouser?
Well, I didn't think about it in that way when I met him. No, he was very nice and very cool.
Yeah.
And that whole thing. And I was caught in my own comedy world. And I was doing shows that week, so that preoccupied me.
Right, you're thinking about your own thing.
Yeah, my own self-absorbed way where I'm like, I got a show to do, whatever, and I'm going to run and see these shows. But yeah, so I felt like I had something to do there and a job to do, so I didn't get as caught up into it.
And so you don't feel that or maybe you wouldn't go to see if you weren't working, but you wouldn't go to see Eddie Murphy. Or he's still doing comedy, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you were to see somebody like him, would you be sitting in the audience going, yeah, how did he get here? Like, Seinfeld comes to town. He comes in his own private jet and flies out.
With comics, I don't know what to think about it because I'm so deep in comedy.
Yeah.
That it is a thing of maybe you can't enjoy the show all the time because, we know the tricks and we know the technical side. And you're like, is that a great bit? This or that. But it's not from the same angle I look at a musician or an athlete.
Okay.
Because I'm in comedy, I think then it's sort of like, how did he do that? I see that. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
Still can't enjoy it.
Still can't? Did you say?
Well, once in a while I can. I really like getting caught by surprise. I get caught by surprise once in a while, but sometimes I can't enjoy a full hour. I can't sit still for a full hour in a comedy show.
How do you think people feel when they watch you for a full hour?
I don't know.
Or a show that's been going on for an hour and you're up for 45 or whatever it is.
Like this guy, just all he does is talk about himself, and then they get uncomfortable, and then I don't know.
When's he going to do his self-deprecating stuff?
When's he going to be honest with us about himself, his own character flaws, and quit being a dickhead and yelling about us and the world? I
don't trust him. I don't
trust him. I don't like him. If he would smile more, maybe we could clap for him. If he would cut a cartwheel, we might be able to get behind this.
I hope he can get my wife to leave, though. That would be great.
I'd love to give him a piece of my mind.
You told me a story yesterday of performing sick, because it's one thing, the show must go on. You got to perform no matter how you're feeling. But so, I know comics have gotten up there with a fever or, not feeling great. But you were really sick once.
Yeah, that's the worst thing I've ever had to overcome to do a show is I got food poisoning. I don't know. That's 4 or 5 years ago, and it was a show in North Carolina. It was 100 miles from my house. I'm still living in Charlotte. So it was one of those things where it's like I turned down the hotel. So I had a girlfriend at the time. I'm like, I'm going to drive up, do my jokes, get paid, and go back home. It's an hour and a half. And I got food poisoning before the show. And I realized that while the feature was on stage.
That's when it hit you.
It hit me. And I thought at first it started with my stomach, so I'm like, am I just a little more nervous? Because I'm always nervous a little bit, but I'm like, no, this feels like more. I go to the bathroom, start to dry heave, and then I went outside, and it was wintertime, it was cold, went and stood by my car. And I know the cold, that felt good. I'm like, it's freezing, but I then puked right next to my car. I'm like, I'm in serious shit now. And went to the bathroom, went back in the club to see how much time he had left, and was puking and shitting in the bathroom, coming out, and I was watching him on stage, and I remember the lights were starting to play with my eyes, and I was starting to sweat. And I'm like, I just have to do 45 minutes. I've got to do 45 minutes and get paid. Because I guess I'm going to the doctor. I've got to have this money. And
at no time, I guess your body does something where you didn't have to expel anything from your body at either end while you were on stage.
No, it is amazing that, I guess the adrenaline kicks in because I puked and shit, and then did all that a couple times before I went on stage. And just got on stage, and I had like a shirt, long sleeve shirt over a short sleeve shirt, so I had to take that off like 10 minutes in because I'm just flop sweating. And I take it off and throw it on the stage, not even trying to find a stool or do anything. And I'm just doing bit by bit, and I'm just motor mouthing them. But I'm doing well. The crowd was amazing.
Just going by rote.
Yeah, and just one after another, and just do it till you get to 45, get paid, and then figure out where a doctor is or whatever I got to do. And then I made some comments because I'm like, I might puke and I'm sick.
Did you have something up there to puke into?
No. I think I took a bottle of water, but no, I had nothing to puke into. I would have just puked on stage. But I didn't get close to it. It was just a matter of like, what's the next line? What's the next line? Not in the moment at all. Just get it over with. And the crowd was killing. Any comment I made about being sick, they laughed.
Right. Because you were humanizing yourself.
I guess so.
He's a guy who's vulnerable.
He has real problems we can identify.
I think if you could induce that every show.
You think if I got food poisoning?
Yeah.
That's what the people would want.
It
would make me more likable.
They eat that stuff up.
Yeah. I know. It's maybe what I need because I stood up there and it was a great show. And then I got off and they wanted to buy DVDs or whatever I had. And I'm like, I gotta puke. I want to puke. And they're like, all right. And even the people after the show were really understanding. And I'm like, and I go puke and they'd still be waiting.
They didn't think it was a joke.
Some of them started to believe it afterwards, but they were still cool and still wanted to talk. And I'm like, I can't talk. I have to go. And I asked the club owner or whoever, or the manager, I'm like, can I have my hotel back? He's like, oh, it's too late. I think they're sold out now. I gave your room away. I can't. So I grabbed 2 cups from the bar and had 100 miles to drive, and I just puked in them on the way home and ditched that vomit out the driver's side window and put my head, and I had just the vent blowing cold air on me. And I got home and got in bed and was shaking. My girlfriend got home, and my temperature was like 103. And then we went right to the ER. And they gave me a shot in the ass and IV, and it was $1,500.
$1,500.
Ouch.
Yeah, and I had insurance, but the deductible doesn't cover it.
So that means that you had to pay $1,500.
Yeah, my deductible was like $2,500. So anything short of that, I had to pay on my own. So that was nice.
Yeah, I've mentioned this before, but I don't know how you can be a hypochondriac, which you are.
Yes.
In the States. No. I know how you can be, but I don't see. Like, you can't just run to the doctor and go, oh, I've got a sore neck, right? You have to factor in a number of things. Well, how sore is it?
Right.
I mean, I got to pay for this.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for the visit, let alone any diagnostic tests on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... I can't even wrap my head around that.
When I had better insurance, I would go to the doctor. And my whole family went to this doctor, and I would hit him with 3 or 4 things when I went in.
Yeah.
And I do that a couple times a year. Because that was like when I had a copay, it was $30 a visit. So I'm like, yeah, I can do that. But now if I go, well, I don't know what they charge, $150, $200 a visit. So now I'm reluctant to go in. Like, my neck's fucked up now. I've been complaining to you every 5 minutes for the last 2 days. But I'm like, I'm going to just sort this out. I'll just take a bunch of a leave.
You probably just slept on it wrong.
I don't know if it's that for 2 weeks, you think?
It's probably broken.
You think it snapped my neck, but somehow I'm still functioning?
It's just hanging on there. One bad look.
Something's wrong. I fell skiing a few weeks ago, but it didn't hurt. So I'm like, that didn't do it. But something's wrong.
Of course, the doctor will say that is exactly what it is. You fell skiing a couple weeks ago. Your neck is hurt for 2 weeks.
And that's it. And it'll work itself out.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go with that.
You just get some.
Or it's broken. But
it could be broken.
Way. It's either one or the other.
My neck. Yeah.
It'll either get better or it won't.
Okay. Well, this is
terrible. Since I saw you last, you have been to Japan.
Yes.
Where I lived for a year.
I didn't know that.
Well, you don't know a lot about me, Paul. Okay. If you have any questions,
he's so self-absorbed.
But
that's right.
Yes, that's right. You don't care.
I do care.
So you were in Japan in the last year. That was after the tsunami, right? After the earthquake?
Right.
And where in Japan were you?
We went to do Marine Corps bases. My buddy Tom Simmons and I went over there to do, where did we go? Iwakuni, Camp Iwakuni, which is outside of Hiroshima, like an hour or so.
In the south?
I guess so.
All right.
Dude, we were fucked up from that flight.
Oh, why is that?
Because they flew me from New York City to Tokyo. I didn't even know that was a thing, but a direct flight. Yeah.
Did they have enough gas to get there from New York?
I don't know, man. They showed the map. You can follow the map. And
Did you go over the States or over Europe?
We came right over Vancouver, went under Anchorage.
Okay.
From New York City and then down under Russia into Japan. And I watched that. They only slept for like 3 hours of that flight. It was like 13, 14-hour flight.
Yeah, I bet.
And then we didn't read the itinerary. Right, he was coming from a different part of the state, so he was on a different flight. We didn't even get to fly together. We met in Tokyo. Then I didn't read the itinerary correctly, and then we had to catch a connecting flight. We had a 2-hour layover after a 14-hour flight, connecting flight to Hiroshima, another hour and a half, 2 hours. Then a shuttle ride to Iwakuni, which is another hour.
That's a military base?
Yeah, and so we got to the hotel in the military base, and we both got food, and we went to my room, and we couldn't even talk to each other. We were so retarded with this exhaustion. We were like, hey, let's eat together, and we're like, no, fuck it. We're going to bed. We can't even be around each other.
How long were you there?
8 days, because we did Iwakuni. The next day, we went back to Hiroshima and flew to Tokyo and went to Camp Fuji, where Mount Fuji is, and then went out to Okinawa for 5 days to 5 different camps, and then back.
So you
great.
You got to see the country, not just the military base, which is like being in America, I would imagine.
Yeah, it was great. The first day we got out, like that first night we got in after we, jet lag and we were all screwed up. I woke up at 5 a.m, just out of my mind and clueless. And then I waited a couple hours and then woke him up. And then I'm like, let's go explore. We saw a castle and a nice bridge. And so we just started walking these Japanese villages, trying to find it. We thought we could, we know it was on the main road. And we just got lost in these Japanese villages. And we weren't concerned. We were for the first 15 minutes, which is funny, is that we were taking pictures. And then 30 minutes into it, we got lost, and we were just complaining about comedy. It was 2 comedians. We'd already gotten back into shop talk.
Right.
And like, that fucking guy, and like, why are we walking around Japan complaining about comedy? And then we had to snap out of it and find our way.
And you found your way back. They're lovely people over there.
Yeah.
Pleasant?
It was very nice. We found our way to a cab who got us finally to the castle and the bridge.
Finally, yeah.
Finally. I mean, we were lost for a good hour and a half.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
And with your neuroses and anxieties, you didn't care about the earthquakes and tsunami and the radiation?
No, I didn't care about it. He's concerned about it. Simmons was worried about it because he's happily married and he's got a kid. I didn't give a shit. I'm single. Got the old prostate problem. I don't care. And so the radiation didn't bother. I didn't even think of the radiation. Like, once again, I don't care about that at all. It doesn't bother me.
Right.
We weren't even close to it.
No, that's
but even if we've been close to it, I don't worry about it too much.
So the prostate problem is a real thing?
Prostate problem, well, no. Not really. A doctor gave me some information like 12 years ago he shouldn't have, and I've run wild with it.
Oh, information is bad.
Yeah, and they said something about my vast difference in my epididymis. Do you know what that is?
No.
All right, I'll tell you.
I know the first one.
And I've had it confused for years.
What epididymis?
Epididymis. And you can have epididymitis, is what I've heard.
Okay.
But what happened is I went in, I was coughing up blood when I was 25. Well, I had a head cold. And I guess it was just my sinuses, But I went in, you're coughing up blood, it's alarming.
Mm-hmm.
I go into the doctor and like, well, we'll give you a complete physical. And the physician's assistant did it instead of the doctor, this young girl who I guess is in training, and she had me drop my pants, and she felt that area between my nuts and my ass, and she goes, oh, that's too big. That shouldn't, that's not right. I'm going to have to get the doctor. I mean, she couldn't poker face this shit at all. Like, yeah, she lost her mind. And it scared the shit out of me. And he comes in, and he's teaching her in front of me. He's like, no, listen, some guys are different. Those parts it's not always the same size on every guy. And she's like, okay. And then the doctor said something like, I don't think it's cancer. He's like, it could be. Let me know if it gets bigger. And he left me to think. And I did some bit about it like years ago in my early days, but that's what he left. And it planted that seed. And that's where I learned the terms, like it's your epididymis and your vast difference is a little bigger than it should have been or should be. And I just went wild with it. And it wasn't prostate cancer because I've lived another 12 years. I didn't die.
It usually hits after 13, I've heard.
What, the prostate cancer?
Yeah.
After 13 years old?
13 years.
After 13 years.
Incubates.
And then it gets you. Then it takes you down.
Boom.
That's probably, it's worked its way through my neck, I imagine,
Yeah,
right?
that's probably what it is.
It's come up my backside. I hate to think.
I'm sorry. No, I don't know anything about it.
I think you're probably right.
I don't know.
Well, I'm convinced.
I'm
that,
wrong. Yeah.
But
I don't know anything about your prostate.
I'll tell you something else. I got these varicoccal veins in my testicles.
Varicoccal?
That's not the way to say it. Varices or something?
Varicose?
Maybe. Yeah, it's the same thing. These are, you can't see them on my testicles. If I show you my testicles,
yeah,
you can feel them.
Okay.
If you want to.
Yeah, so you can feel them, honestly. But I'll
take a pass.
Come on. No?
But one can feel them, yes. I get it. I get what you're saying.
When I was a teenager.
It wasn't an invitation.
When I was a teenager in health class where they tell you about your body and they first teach you about testicular cancer, they feel yourself. And I felt lumps, and I went into the doctor as a teenager, and he's like, no, you have varicose veins, whatever his term. Mm-hmm. And they've spread a little bit. All right, so between the teenage diagnosis of the varicose veins and the adult diagnosis of the epididymis vas deferens swollen, I've connected the two, and I think it's all connected there. Because they are in one small area, so I think there's a big problem down there.
But you haven't had further tests?
No, but sometimes with my prostate, I'm convinced I have a weak stream. You know what I mean? I don't have a strong stream when I pee, and it's got to be my prostate.
You're not self-absorbed.
You don't think so?
No. Not at all.
I don't feel it. So this is all very serious stuff.
And, you are talking about yourself and your personal nature, but everyone listening is going, yeah, they're relating it to themselves.
Right.
Right? That's what we do.
Yeah.
So even though you're talking about yourself, we're either going, well, he's just nuts, or my nuts are like that.
Right. They can have prostate cancer, too.
Yeah. So you're providing a valuable service to
That's
our
what
listeners.
I am. I think comforting them or scaring them.
Or, that's right. Or at least I don't have it that bad.
Right.
That guy's got real problems.
I mean, there's a lot. There really is a lot going on. I mean, I'm convinced the prostate. There are some things. And I have a sharp pain going from my navel to my right testicle, which I was convinced somebody says appendicitis.
Yeah.
No, someone told me they thought it was my intestines are kinked up, which explains some things about my bowel movements.
So this is the U.S. medical system. Somebody told me.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's how shitty it
Was
is.
he a medical person? No. But he heard from some other guy.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, last time I went to the doctor, he was like, we could check your prostate. And he didn't. He didn't. He just didn't.
No, he's a normal guy. Why would he want to?
But he's sort of used to. The problem is my family's all sort of neurotic. My mom and my aunt go there, and I think they hit him with a lot of shit when they walk in. And now I come in, and
so
he's used to giving us stiff arms.
Right. He's already pegged you as somebody who's alarmed over things that don't need to be alarmed.
Yeah,
that's wrong.
Yeah, he thinks it's the whole family. It's just, and he's right that we go in some stuff.
So that's where you got it from, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. The more I talk to my family, like my mom's side of the family, OCD runs in it. I didn't realize. I really thought I knew she had a little OCD. She's on medication now; she's better. But I didn't know my extended family, like on that side, had it, and they're all checking locks on doors and shit. I mean, I didn't realize how many of them had it.
Oh yeah, you talked about this last time you were here about your checking out process, and we put that up on YouTube.
Yeah,
about how you check out of a hotel room, and you still do that, right?
Still do it. Yeah, I really jerked on the knob tonight,
just to make sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all right, that dirty laugh.
We're not supposed to say anything inappropriate.
Oh, that's right. What's the word?
Offensive or harmful tonight, okay?
Okay. Well, I don't know what to do.
You've covered all of those.
I know.
Well, that's it then, folks.
With my dark comedy.
Yeah, but so you said something on stage about, it's a comedic exaggeration. I'm hoping, you don't want anyone to go in and steal your stuff. You're thinking that, in the back of your mind, you're on stage and somebody's left the theater to go steal your stuff.
Take my belongings.
Right. But do you ever go, and I've heard this is a good, in therapy, they will often get the subject to go to the absolute worst place. Like, what could happen if somebody went in and took all your stuff? And then each step along the way, you just go, oh, yeah, well, if that happened, I would do this and this. And then you realize, it's not so bad. Like, if that happened, so what? I have insurance or I
don't believe this. Right now, if someone broke in my room, they'd take my passport. I'm fucked.
No, you're not.
Oh, yeah, I'm going.
You would go to the American consulate, say someone stole my passport, and they'd issue a new one.
They get it that right away. I've heard, you lose your passport.
What are they going to say? You can't go back in the country?
Yeah, but then I have to leave the country again next month. I'm like, it messes up my trip down the road. I'm like, it could be a big problem. I think about next time I have to leave the country because I heard it's an ordeal, months, paperwork and stuff. So that seems legitimate, see, right?
Yeah, but is it really worth all that worry?
Yes. Yes, it is, to make sure it's safe. I mean, I know I can't prevent someone.
No, worry doesn't make sure it's safe.
But I am thorough with it. I really check the doors.
Right.
And my door right now has a weird lock on it, so it's driving me a little more batty than usual. But yeah, I think so. That's okay, and I am getting better. Like I said, last time we covered a lot of this, but I'm still functional.
Better in the past. Yeah, you're still functional.
Yeah,
and improving. Like, do you want to get better?
I do.
Have you taken steps to try to erase some of the anxieties that you have?
I mean, I don't know.
Or I know you approach it comedically on stage, and that's got to help somewhat because you're making fun of it,
right.
Kind of. But do you also, search or ask your buddies about therapies to correct it? Cognitive therapies or whatever?
No. I went to a therapist this past summer.
Yeah?
I started that. I went 2 or 3 times.
That's good. For a comic.
Yeah.
You got to have that.
And he was a good dude, and it really helped. But then I was like, I don't want to spend all this money.
Right, I know that.
And then it's a downside of spending all this money on a therapist. But he's really good, so I'll probably go back to him. He was very helpful, but I don't think we got too deep into it. I mean, but everything he said made sense, and when I walked out of there, I felt really good, and like a weight was lifted. But it's all that shit. But it's as far as the OCD, no, I'm just sort of reminding myself, like, you do have to get over it. And I have these days where I'm able to cut it off, like, no, move now, get away from it, and I'm able to do that, and then cut the time down a little more,
Of worrying about something or obsessing over something.
Right, yeah. If it was an hour, now I can do it in 20 minutes and stuff like that. And make moves.
Excellent.
Oh, it's good.
I get all my obsessing done in 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's getting better. And I'm also getting sick of the OCD thing. I'm just sort of getting sick of how long it's gone on with me. It's almost like my drinking, where it hit a wall and something. I mean, feel that same stuff's going with, like, man, just get over it. I'm feeling like I'm getting fed up with myself about it, and I'm like, that's good, I think.
Yeah, you were blackout drunk, as you said last time, and you quit pretty much cold turkey.
Yeah.
So maybe this will happen with the OCD. You'll just get fed up with it. Forget this.
New phase. Yeah.
What phase will it be? You'll just be well-adjusted.
I don't know if the
happy,
well-adjusted, carefree thing will ever come for me.
Humane? No?
I'll always be concerned about stuff. And a person who worries a lot, but maybe just not, checking locks 50 million times, I mean, I guess I've given in to that. I will always be the guy that sort of worries. I'm not going to be the carefree.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think you get to a healthier phase where I'm a little more like, I know, all right, cut it off. I'm still worried, but move. Take action. Quit thinking about it the whole day. Because I don't want to be one of these people that just take action all the time, because that makes me nuts to be around.
What do you mean?
People that don't think things through and they just act on it and they do everything in some sloppy, haphazard way, it makes me crazy. Like, just being around that type of person. They act on everything, then, next thing you know, they've wrecked their car and all kinds of bullshit. They lost their cell phone. Like, I can never be that person.
Yeah, I was going to ask, since you quit drinking and you're clean and sober, do you still party? Do you go to parties? And if so, do you enjoy them?
I don't. No. I don't like parties. I like being around friends and talking.
Yeah, but if somebody said, hey, you want to come to this party I'm going to?
No.
Would you go?
No, I would go. If it was friends that were comics, I might go for a bit. But no, I'm not into the house parties. I hate any kind of serious, like, drinking party thing or football party. I'm out of that.
Right. But a gathering, like a dinner party,
I could do that. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, definitely. But I can do it. And I'd love to hang out. I can hang out at a bar with friends for an hour or two. But once it gets too serious or people start turning tables over and yelling at each other and shit, then I'm like, I got to go. I don't need this. I want to go, like, watch the Weather Channel or do a crossword puzzle. I don't need all this noise.
Do you do crossword puzzles?
I used to do a lot more. I have one in my bag. Yeah. No. The simple ones.
Oh, okay.
Very simple, like trivia stuff, but no.
Oh, because the New York Times Monday, Tuesday are pretty simple.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you didn't know.
I didn't know that.
And you're in New York.
I picked that up. I just thought the New York Times was just this monster.
It gets progressively harder. So the Fridays are impossible. Saturdays impossible. Sundays medium.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try that then.
So Monday and Tuesday, try that one.
I'd love to try that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, like crosswords. I have one in my bag. I haven't touched it in a while, but yeah.
And you were going to tell me, like, you're a big documentary film watcher, and that also feeds some of your neuroses. And, like I said before, information is problematic. Because you get little bits of it, and your mind goes wild with it.
You start obsessing.
And you get them from documentaries. And you said you were going to go home last night and watch one. What did you watch one?
I did turn something on and I didn't last long in this one either. I must have turned it on. I got my Netflix to work last night, and I have no idea what I watched. It's going to take me a minute to remember. And I woke up with my iPad still in the bed, erect, like standing. But I don't know what I fell asleep watching.
Wow. And you're sober.
It was a documentary, though.
It'll come to you.
I don't know. I really don't know right now. I didn't last maybe 5 minutes in it, something like that. But like I told you, I love all the national park stuff that they do, like the Ken Burns stuff. I'll still watch some of the religious documentaries. Any of that stuff I love.
Yeah.
The war stuff. Yeah,
I just looked at the clock. We're past an hour, but I just got a few more questions. Kevin, you're all right, hey?
Oh, yeah, I'm awesome.
Yeah.
Are you angry with me?
I'm very angry with you.
What?
You breached our pledge. You broke our pledge of...
I haven't cursed in here, have I?
No.
Oh, that's right. You haven't. It was Guy who broke the
he
pledge.
He did say some nasty things.
You usually Well, I saw you twice doing something that last night that I hadn't seen you do before, where you have this invitation to somebody in the audience. Now, does that ever get weird after the show? You talk to a dude and you invite him over to your place.
Right.
It's all in fun. We get it's in fun, but, some people don't know when comics are joking. Like, when you go back, you finish your show, you go stand at the back of the room, does that dude ever come up to you and go, so let's go?
The only time I have had it where people were like, okay, but I had it one time in Wisconsin where I had my back. I was with the other comic, and I think he was selling stuff, and I was talking to him, and the crowd was letting out. And two guys picked me up from behind and spun me around in the air, like, let's go. And they brought me right to their face, like, let's go bathe together. And it was horrifying.
That's the invitation. I didn't know if I wanted to say that.
Yeah, and they...
So, like, they were serious or they were just kidding with you?
They were laughing. They both had their wives with them, but they thought it'd be funny, and they really ambushed me, and it was hilarious. They did it the right way because they picked me off the ground before they spun me go 180, and then were right in my face. Two men, like, let's go. And I'm like, full-on assault. But, yeah, I give them credit. It was hilarious. It was terrifying.
Terrifying for a moment.
For a moment, then I'm like, that's great.
I don't know why people like to terrify you.
Yeah, people just like, poking me because I'm jumpy and skittish.
Skittish.
Yeah, people do like tormenting me.
You also have this new fascination with ducks.
The duck thing, I feel like if I get a duck, it's going to be soothing to me.
Calm you down.
Right.
But those things squawk.
Well, they quack.
Yeah.
Not a falcon or anything. It's a duck. I don't know why. I always thought I had this day off, and I was in Michigan, and I was talking to a comic friend. I was in between two gigs. And it was beautiful. It was summer in Michigan, in the UP of Michigan. And she's like, what are you going to do today? And I'm like, I have a strong desire to feed ducks.
It just came to you.
It just came to me, and it just sounded like the best idea. And I didn't do it that day. I just got a hotel and went to sleep. But since then, the idea of getting a duck and feeding it and then traveling with the duck and then us getting a cabin together and writing a book seems amazing to me. It calms me. It calms me.
Just the idea of it. Have you since fed ducks?
No, I haven't fed ducks. No, I haven't.
Because there's ducks all over the place.
I sort of want my own duck and just us to be in a cabin. I haven't thought about it. I would feed a duck if it was outside the door tonight, but I'm not, when the idea of, like, I'm going to go seek out ducks today, I never get around to it.
So you haven't Googled how to acquire a duck?
No, people tell me on the road, they're like, just go down there. You can buy a duck. Someone told me somewhere on the road.
Buy a duck. Where do you buy a duck?
Someplace out in the middle of nowhere. They were like, you go down to this place and you buy a duck. They told them you can only buy them in twos.
Oh, really? Well, you could kill one. You could eat one, right? Buy the two.
You can kill one. I didn't think about that. I thought I'd just have two of them, which takes away from the idea. But I guess you could kill one, yeah. All right. Well, sounds good.
Eat.
But, yeah, it was two ducks, and it was something about people. They didn't want people just to use them as pets. They thought, like, maybe that would encourage them to. There was some, I don't know what the origin of the rule was, but you had to buy two ducks.
And then there's different kinds of ducks, too.
Right. I only thought there was a mallard duck in my ignorance, but no, there's more ducks than that.
How many can you name?
A mallard duck, and then the white duck with the orange bill.
What about the yellow one with the red bill?
That's a chick. That's a baby duck.
That's the one that's in all the kids' books.
It's a rubber ducky.
They're always yellow ducks, and I've never seen a yellow duck.
That's because they're baby ducks, I think. And they take an artistic license with that, the cartoonist. And
yeah,
I don't know.
That's why I can't lose myself in a cartoon. I'll go, there's no yellow duck.
There's no duck that big that's yellow.
I'll grant that maybe there's a talking duck, but if they're just going to make a yellow duck.
Right. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
I can't accept it either.
So, Paul, you got coming up, so we just mentioned you did this military tour of Japan, and that's all great and safe, except for the radiation. And now you're going off to, like, war zones and stuff.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Djibouti.
Do you know where that is?
No. Not a clue.
Do you know how to spell it?
Oh, DJIBOUTI. I think there's another J in there.
All right.
I'm not sure. Sort of like that, though. Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar.
And when is this?
Next month, February 15th.
5 countries?
5, yeah.
And how long are you going?
18 days.
Wow.
With 3 other comedy friends, yeah. And it's going to be a big one. It's like, I'm excited And I love when I get more passport stamps and going to see something like that.
That's why you're so protective of your passport.
Right, because of the stamps.
The stamps.
I love seeing... That's one of those things where it is pure joy when I see more stamps in my passport. I love that. So I'm going to get a few more stamps when I go on this trip. But I'm concerned about going, of course, over there.
You are.
Yeah.
Even though you're a single guy and you don't care about anything.
My buddy's playing with me. He's telling me, well, one of the gigs, we stay out in the town and you're not on a military base. I'm like, well, I don't think that can happen. I don't think we can just do that.
No.
Because I'm not going to be able to get out of bed. We're not going to, go down the vending machine and get Reese's Cups in Bahrain. Can I? Can't go wander the parking lot and smoke cigarettes in Bahrain in my pajamas? Can I do that? I'm just out there in a white T-shirt and little gray underpants.
Who's booking this? This guy? This friend of yours?
Yeah. Sean Kent.
Oh, he was just here last weekend.
Great guy. Sean put it together, and he's bringing a lot of songs. Yeah.
Former guest on this show. So he is saying, no, we've arranged. We're going to stay in a hotel outside. I would have thought that the military arranges everything, right? You'll stay with us.
I think we are. I don't know what's a joke and what's not at this point.
Again, people like to fool with you.
They do like playing with me. I don't know. I'm sure we're safe the whole time.
Well, let's hope.
I just think, I like to have a late night cigarette in my pajamas. You know what my favorite time of day is? Between midnight and 4 a.m. at any gig, I go out and it's tranquil and I smoke a cigarette in whatever hotel I'm in front of. And I just think, I'm in Tucson, Arizona. Right now, it's all quiet. Or I'm in Vancouver. This is amazing. My body
pajamas.
is in my pajamas.
Really?
I do it in my pajamas and smoke a cigarette and stare at the sky wherever I'm at.
guys like you.
You wear pajamas. You bring pajamas
they're
with
lounge
you on
pants is what they are.
Oh, okay.
I wear like a nice T-shirt.
I thought you had a nice pressed pair of pajamas, crease and everything in them.
No, it's just a T-shirt and little pajama pants, like everybody on the planet wears, right? But I like to wear those.
They don't wear them outside, though.
Well, you hate me. But I'm not wearing like little boy shorts out in the parking lot.
Doesn't matter.
He's got his smoking jacket on as well.
And what's on your feet?
Sometimes just my tennis shoes. It depends. The summer months I travel with flip-flops.
That's all right. Yeah, the flip-flops, no.
What do you mean?
Pajamas
I'm
and
in
flip-flops?
Tucson, Arizona. It's hot as hell.
I know, but stay in your room with it looking like that.
Well, I got to come out. Well, you're not out there anyway at 3:45 in the morning hanging out in front of the lobby. It's just me. This is what I do. At midnight, I get back from the show. I change my loungewear.
Now it's loungewear, okay.
Right. I turn the weather channel on.
That I'm okay with.
Right. I
turn on the weather
channel. Yeah. Calm down. Cool off from the shows.
Right.
The big artistic performance. And then I fucking pants on. I go outside, and everybody's gone to bed, all the normal people. And I smoke a cigarette. Well, I eat Reese's Cups first before I go outside.
Always a Reese's Cup.
I always go to the vending machine.
Crunchy or just plain smoothie?
Just the original.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
2, sometimes 4 if I'm feeling all right.
Right. It was a particularly good show.
Yeah, I reward myself with 4. Yeah, absolutely. And then I just go smoke cigarettes, and I just stare at the sky wherever I'm at, and it's the best time of day for me. I love it.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to do that in the Middle East, I don't think. But that is my favorite time of day. I try to explain it to other comics. They just think I'm a moron.
Imagine if you had your duck with you at that time.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be,
The
I could
hotel
picture
probably
it right
wouldn't
there.
take ducks.
What's the deal with the customs and a duck?
I don't know. You could just let it go on one side of the border
Fly
and catch
over
up to
and
it
catch
on
it.
the other.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You could, I don't know what kind
Meet
of duck
me
I'm
on
getting.
the other side.
I guess I could do that. I don't know what kind of paperwork it involves. But yeah, if I had a duck out there at 3:30 in the morning smoking a cigarette with me,
Life would be good.
those are
Sweet.
soothing moments. But does this sound like a crazy person? Like that?
Not at
I
all,
enjoy
Paul. You sound completely normal.
Those are my moments. That's when I'm calm. Like tonight.
As long as just thinking about that calms you, that's what you have. That's all you need.
I love that my body goes all over the planet, and then I'm just like, oh, here I am in Arizona. Here I am in upstate New York. Here I am in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
Here I am in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And I'm just smoking a cigarette in my pajama pants.
Here I am
Reese's
in,
Cups and all
in
this
Bahrain.
in Bahrain, eating Reese's, smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, looking up, I know. When I went to Japan, you look up and you go, they're seeing the same moon that I'm seeing. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's cool. It was beautiful in Japan. So those places, that's good for me. That's healthy. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smoking cigarettes is very healthy.
Well, not that part, but, I mean, it's still, those are the nice times.
I'm putting my watch back on, Paul. You know what that means?
What does it mean?
It means
Done?
we're done. How did you like it?
I enjoyed this. This is fun.
It's fun talking to you. I like you.
Really comfortable in here.
It's a little warm.
It is getting hot in here.
Not comfortable that way.
But it's like comfortable, emotionally. Nice time.
I try to provide emotional comfort to all my guests.
Thank you.
I hope to see you back.
Yeah.
Now you're a regular. I know it took you a while to get to Canada. Now we can't keep you out.
Yeah, I'd love to come back.
Especially when you go back and find your passport stolen.
Oh, don't say that. That's a real legitimate thing. I mean, that could be a problem, but we'll be okay.
It's not really. You'd be fine.
Okay.
Because you could live here easily.
I could actually,
we would take you in.
Yeah.
You could go see a doctor for one thing.
I would really live here, honestly. That might happen someday.
And we hope to have you here. All right, Paul Hooper, thanks. It was a good long hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, wonderful.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Next week, we're back again. Oh, you were the first guest of 2013, by the way. Congratulations.
Oh, huge. Thank you. That's wonderful.
Next week, our second guest of 2013 will be a first-timer, Shirley Nome, and her filthy songs of sex.
So much for that pledge.
So much for that pledge. See you next week at 11. Good night.